and hopefully others will join us. So welcome everybody. Should we go around the table and just introduce ourselves? It's been a little while since we've seen each other. You want to start?
Sure. I'm Jacqueline Myers. Had 3 kids late when they don't this year. So.
I'm Judy Fujimoto. I have no children. The grandson, but he's not here in this district.
Anita Duksick, and a community member.
I'm John Harris, a parent, on to high school now.
I was going to ask you if your son had moved on to high school.
Yeah, he's liking it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And I'm Tiffany Nelson. I'm the principal at Twin Lakes Elementary.
I'm Renee Hoover, and I have a daughter who graduated high school last year. On the channel.
Awesome.
And I have one in high school now and one in middle school now, and I did homeschool before. So,
Welcome to
all the things.
Hopefully you're finding your time in Lakeland.
They're very social, so they're happy.
Good.
But there's, consequences.
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately. Okay. It says September 10th, but since I met all by myself on September 10th, I thought we would just start here because there was a little bit of a mix-up with the communication last month. So I just wanted to start today with some conversation about the supplemental levy that's coming up, and then to check in with all of you to see if anybody has questions that I can answer. But there are two things that are kind of swirling through the community that I'm hearing that is misinformation. So I just want to clarify that for this group. The first one being the emergency levy. So at the beginning of September, the Coeur d'Alene Press ran an article indicating that Lakeland was not running an emergency levy. Some of our patrons took that to mean that we weren't running a levy at all this year, which isn't true. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody's kind of aware of what the difference is between an emergency levy and a supplemental levy. So an emergency levy in Idaho, statutorily, a school board can impose an emergency levy, a tax on the patrons without a vote from the patrons when your enrollment is more than, on the first Friday of the school year, more than what it was on the first Friday of the year previous. So same Friday, 2 school years. If this year we had more kids enrolled than we did last year on that day, the board could have enacted an emergency levy. The reason for the law and the reason this exists is just so that for school districts that maybe don't have a healthy fund balance and not a great cash flow, if you have more kids, sometimes you have to hire a new teacher, sometimes you have to purchase furniture, sometimes you have to purchase more curriculum, and if you don't have the money to do that, this provides that option for you. Since our current board has been in place, we have not run an emergency levy because they just really don't believe in imposing taxes without a vote by the patrons. So they philosophically do not agree with the concept of an emergency levy. And so even though we could have run one this year because our enrollment was up, I didn't even bring that to the board as a consideration, which is why the paper said we didn't run an emergency levy. But we are running the supplemental levy, and that item is on the ballot for the November 5th election. The other thing that I'm hearing in the community that is not accurate is some confusion around House Bill 292, which is it's called the Facilities Maintenance Bill, but it's actually property tax relief first. So for any district that doesn't have supplemental levy or a bond on the books, those dollars from the state come to the district to be used to take care of their buildings. But if you have one or both of those measures on the books, it first has to be applied toward those to save the taxpayers some money. So last year we paid off our bond, so we own our buildings outright. But we do currently have a supplemental levy on the books for $9.5 million. So during the 23-24 school year, which was last year, we received from the state 1.7 million in property tax relief, and we had our last bond payment on the books last year. So that 1.7, 900,000 of it paid the bond in full. So if you look at your taxes from last year, you will see that you didn't pay any money toward the bond because the state completely took care of that payment. And then the additional $800,000 that was left from the 1.7 was applied to the 9.52 million. So then we as patrons paid the remainder of that. This year we are getting 2.37 million from the state, and we don't have a bond on the books. So we have the 9.52 million supplemental levy that's currently on the books. Right off the top, the state will pay the 2.37, which leaves 7.14 million roughly for those of us who live in the district, to our taxpayers to pay. So that's a significant savings for the taxpayers. But what I'm hearing is that people think that we're going to get the 9.52, and then we're also going to get the 2.37 from the state. So we're actually going to get 12 million roughly, which isn't accurate. So I just want to make sure that. Or questions about the supplemental levy.
Follow up to the first part you talked about that enrollment. So I remember you showed me one kind of check to see what enrollment was. I think it's listed on the website somewhere. I kind of don't remember how to do that.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be as simple. So these are our current postages today. So you can see this, you would add these two numbers up basically to get, and I don't know that we have a total, but I can certainly, if parents are interested or patrons are interested in that, we can certainly add that.
Well, I can do the math. You just add up
The number of residents and then the open enrollment accepted for each school.
open enrollment is
Yeah, when on the first Friday of school, I believe we were at 4,645. As we started at the end of the school year, we were at about 4,500. We had lost 100 kids. And when we just rolled those 4,500 kids up into the next grade and the seniors off the books, we actually were expecting to be at 4,400 this year because we had large senior classes leaving and we've had tiny baby kindergarten classes coming in. So we were actually planning for 4,400 and we're at 4,650. So we're actually up 250 from where we thought we would be, but 40 from start to start.
How much of that would you say is open enrollment students?
Well, it's hard to say for sure because some of these are zone transfers. I don't know. I don't know.
I was just curious. Out of
I'm sure it had some impact.
Yeah.
And we have the numbers. There is a way for me to get those numbers. So I can look at that.
I don't know, I'm sitting right down any rabbit holes. I was just curious if it had a positive or negative impact on our budget statuses.
And did Post Falls and Portland go to 4 days this year?
Post Falls was last year. They continued this year. And Coeur d'Alene is 4.5 days. So they get out early on Friday. Do you remember Tiffany? I don't know if it's a full half day or if it's like 2 hours early.
They split the baby, did they?
They did, yeah.
I don't know that it's every Friday.
It is for students. And
How is
then
that?
go ahead. Well, the last time they surveyed their parents, 77% of the parents want to continue with it. I think last year was, at the beginning of the year was a little bit hard because people what was written and I think it's worth more than that. So it just it hasn't really changed very much, especially in our we did have catch up. We're paying people to be there, got the electricity on, and then our custodial pool will be working, taking advantage of the fact that there's no new buildings, but that still needs lights around, heat is on, so you typically don't save a lot of money. Where you save money really is, on the backs of your transportation department. And they're not working that day, and then your classified, so paraprofessionals, your child nutrition people, who really need the pay and income, so. But, the board will have a discussion about that, so, on Wednesday.
My daughter votes yes, in case you.
There are some,
The kids would be very happy.
there are, that we have some challenges that we would have to overcome. So for example, because we double route our buses with the high school and middle school kids going so early, that would put our elementary kids getting out of school pretty late, between 4:15 and 4:30. And in the winter, it's dark.
So you have to add the time.
Mm-hmm. And so then we could have little people walking on roads in snowy conditions in the dark, which makes me very nervous. Exactly, and drivers. Yeah. And then the days are long, which I really question elementary kids how much happens in that extra hour that we put in because they are done, especially when you're talking about kindergarten versus second graders. Accordingly, Idaho is not hitting that 990 instructional hours, so I'm not sure how they're getting there from that. Right. So, lots of things. Yeah, I mean, we were well over the 990, so it's just a matter of if it's what the community wants and the board wants to support that, then we just roll up our sleeves and we figure that out. I just am not sure that that's where it is, so we'll find out. So the next item. No, it's nice to see you. So these are leftover from last year that we just never got to these items, but the next one is who will be cataloging all the books in teachers' classrooms. We actually found an app that it's called Book Source, and you use the camera on your phone and you scan the ISBN and it puts the title into a spreadsheet for you, and so significantly reduced the amount of time that it was taking people to do that. And then we really labored over, okay, once we have the list, what do we do about that? Because when kids go to the library, the parents fill out the library form and they get to pick and choose which genres they want their kids to have access to in the library. And there's no way to manage that in a classroom with all the different books that are on the shelf. And so what we ended up doing was just a permission slip to parents that said, they need a book for reading time or whatever when they're centers, they can go to the library and check out book and have access to a book. So I've checked in with principals and at this point I don't know that we have, at the elementary level, we haven't had any parents opt out of the classroom libraries, so.
So the parents are turning in the slip saying, they have to, or the child does not have access to the library until we have the permission slip. So, and I told my teachers by the end of the first week. If you don't have all of your parents' signatures, please let me know so I can contact them to see if there's a misunderstanding. And parents from both homes, we have to have the signature of both parents. If mom and dad, both parents have to agree. To my understanding, and my colleagues, it hasn't covered anything for our elementary meetings.
And then all of the, anytime a parent sees something that they have a concern about, they can go to the teacher and have a conversation and then just ask that the child not have access to that. So that's all still in play.
Do just elementary classrooms have classroom libraries, or I know
Elementary schools have a lot of classrooms. I, at the middle school, I know have a smaller classroom library.
Anybody in the district who has a classroom library had to do the same thing. So they had to provide the titles of the books to the parents, and then they had to get permission. I haven't checked in with the middle schools to see if we've had parents opt out.
if you're not a parent, you have access to see like what kind of books the different teachers have in their classrooms. If you're not a parent, like me as a community member, would I be able to?
I don't know that.
The principal.
Yeah, I don't know that they're posted anywhere. We did it so that they could share it with the parents, so the parents could see what the list was before they signed anything. Perfect.
So I have a middle schooler this year, so sixth grade, so she's 11. There is a book that they were reading that, had I known what was in it, I would not have bothered her to read it in class. However, it is incredibly ostracizing, and there was some major contention, and she knew that we were going to read it out. She didn't know what it was in the book that we were not reading about. It was the boy's mother had an affair. It is here, it's kind of, this is what we had pulled out, and so if you were curious and you wanted to see what was in it. Attach it by where it goes. The only thing that I would like to get, this one does have this. And I read, oh, I can't help it. Give you, I guess, a hand.
So at a base, those just kind of want this clear.
Right.
So this extenuating situation where past was kind of the foundation for this. But if we're getting that, there is responsibility.
It's actually
And I don't, but I tend to sort of have Julia, yeah. You did.
Well, it's 11.
Thirtieth? Oh, yeah. Good, yeah, then, yes.
Well, the only library books are not. So what would happen is, and then I'll pass it down and then
So in a case, one.
I don't know if it's my baby. This is my baby. Apparently they are. I don't know. I told my parents that was no, yeah, or we have to.
You have a right of
I think it's a wonderful book. I have.
And so if it goes to general justice, there are lots of reasons. It's so funny because most parents have read it and they think that's true and they read it and
Yeah, right.
and so we don't get it. Yeah. And then some parents
lots of
I don't know that
concerns and making sure that, our number one goal is to make sure that the kids feel safe and respected. Whatever topic.
the way we're being more
And
informed.
I feel like there's more books, I've heard, you know, I think that she had concerns about some of the books that were being read for her children. Um,
Jacqueline.
And, so I think that my job is to read those,
I do know we have one board member in particular who, every time a book comes up that is questionable, she just shakes her head and says, "Why can't we just read these books? Why do they have to have these controversial
I
things?"
know, there's so many good books out there.
Yeah. Okay. Why, this next question, why does the school board want to eliminate stipends for staff? So I don't, who work above and beyond the contract, so I don't know that they're necessarily looking to eliminate stipends, but, there is a sense that because the state instituted what they call leadership stipends several years ago, where they provided a lot of money to school districts to pay teachers to take on leadership roles in the district. But what that kind of did was train the teachers to expect that if you're going to ask me to do something extra, then you're going to pay me for it. And we definitely have surrounding states where that's happening, and our teachers have friends who work in Washington, and they hear about that, and then so then it becomes, when we don't do it, it's almost like you don't really value the work we're doing.
And is the state still providing
No.
that? Say that's,
No.
okay, that's.
And I have always been of the mind that we're professionals. We hold a professional license, and they're just our expectations of the job. Where, yes, as a teacher, we work with kids in our classroom, but then outside of that time, there are expectations that you're going to attend meetings and you're going to participate in certain activities. And so when we truly have people who are working substantially outside of what we pay them to do their contracted time, we are providing stipends for that, whether it's additional days, money for additional days because they work in the summer when they aren't on contract, or significant, it just requires a significant amount of time outside of their regular day.
And is that negotiated in your contract with the union?
No.
The union negotiated?
No, according to the law, the Teachers Association and the district can negotiate the base salaries, but they can't negotiate those stipends. Although there are some stipends that a long time ago somebody put into the negotiated agreement, where the district it's not dollar amount, it's a percentage of the state base salary. So if the percentage is identified. So for example, a high school music instructor, they do all the pep band stuff at football games, basketball games, they have lots of concerts. They take their kids to ensemble and different state events. So that all takes away from their family time. So we believe that those activities warrant additional pay. So that is in the negotiated agreement. But there are very few of those in there. So. And then we don't, just so you guys know, we purposely do not put that money in there, just their total salary that's written in their base contract. Because Idaho law says that you can't pay people less next year than you paid them this year. And so we put it into we put it, the variables that the district into them, you have to pay more next year than you did this year. So we're very careful about that. How does the district explain a RIF of around 62 certified teachers? Funds are supposed to be frustrated. Yeah, we're
And so
closer now.
we had to inch up a little bit closer to the state numbers.
So right now what we're trying to keep is a 23-1 ratio in K through 3, and then a 28 in 4th through 12, basically. So, and in some places we're right there, and in other places it's less than, because you just have pockets, and that's part of the challenge of having small neighborhood schools, which is one of the things that I think makes Lakeland special and good at what we do is we don't have those big super schools, so all kids' names are known, people know who they are. But when you do that, like at Tiffany School, we rezoned the district, and she had areas where we anticipated growth because they're building, so we moved some of her kids to a different school, and we did rezoning, and the houses went up, but the kids didn't materialize, so her numbers are going down, and so she has,
Actually, small elementary.
There's no way to mitigate that. That's why it costs us more to run our district that way. If we had schools of 700, elementary schools of 700, you would have 6 to 7 classrooms, and it would be easier to spread those kids out and get a little bit more consistency in numbers.
Geographics, Twilight Elementary actually has the largest square miles for one zone.
But
The smallest, because they're all acres, so people want 10, 20 acres. And so, you hear about a small family with 3 or 4 littles living on 10, 20 acres, you can't afford it up there right now.
right. Just adding some notes here.
Not a lot, so there was 2 months we found it. And so, showed me that, and so they made a picture of them, because all the work was, so on that, very, so early, lessons. These are just real questions that the community can email in with this.
Well, these are left over from last year when we got to them. So this next one is the school board wants to eliminate counselors. I don't think I've ever heard that part before we talk about eliminating counselors. What is their plan? And who will cover all of the work that they left behind? Do they know everything the counselors do to pour into our schools each day? We'll meet the mental health needs of our staff and students and counselors don't exist in our schools. So, I don't think I've ever heard the school board mention eliminating counselors. I think what our board is cognizant of is trying to make sure that whatever we're doing, parents are aware of what we're doing and that they're giving permission for that work. I don't, as an elementary principal, I don't know how you run school without an elementary counselor, because the needs of our community members are great, and parents are constantly asking about resources. And our counselors are really good at, when parents ask, giving them a list of resources that families can connect with. So
As of Friday. I have a long list of what I have to do.
So,
Are they direct employees of the district, or are they're, what's Heritage?
So we employ at every school, there is state statute that says that every district must have, at a minimum, 1 counselor for every 500 students in the district. Our district has counselors in all of our buildings. At the elementary level, they help with just self-regulation of emotions. At the high school level, they're truly just guidance counselors. They don't do any counseling. For them, it's just, making sure that kids are signing up for the right classes so they can graduate on time. It's about, guidance counseling at the high school level. In addition to that, we have an MOU with Heritage Health, and they provide, counseling services to families, at all of their offices, but they also provide, some counselors to come on, district property to provide those services when parents can't, pick their kids up and take them to Fort Wayne. So that's a purely a parent and Heritage Health thing. The only part we play in the whole thing is providing a space for them to meet with the kids.
Oh, okay, they're not like a third party contracting service or anything with the district? They're,
No.
they're,
No.
they're, oh,
No. Yep. So when a school team meets with a parent and a kid about maybe behaviors that are happening or anxiety issues that parents are very concerned about, and the conversation about counseling sometimes will come up in those meetings. If parents mention to the school counselor or the principal or the teacher, I really feel like my child needs counseling, but I can't afford to miss school to take my child to counseling, or my work won't allow me to leave and pick my kiddo up and take him and then bring him back. And so at that point, then somebody from the school could say to that parent, well, we do have the option of Heritage Health. Here's the contact information.
it's just a reference.
Yep, and then you do it. What we're running into right now is Heritage Health. I think we have two counselors this year for 11 schools, so we have lots of kids who aren't getting any counseling because parents can't take them. And so Heather Hamilton, who is our lead counselor for the district, has been working all summer trying to find other agencies who might be willing to do the same as what Heritage Health is doing. So they're
Just be always kind
and she's not doing, she's not a counselor. She'll help them.
Yes.
So hopefully that was gonna be available.
I hope so.
It's a senior, but
Really great this year.
it's an $8,000 scholarship to Idaho kids who go to Idaho schools.
That's a great thing.
And is it it's 8 years every year or just 8 years? Or $8,000, sorry, $8,000 every year, or is it $8,000?
Total,
Total.
I think
because
it's
I think
total, yeah.
I think it was like 2 this year.
Okay, so you get 2 per year for 4
I
years.
believe so.
Okay. Yeah.
And they,
It paid for what she took this year, so great.
yeah, that's terrific.
Mm-hmm.
They also have another program, and the name of it slips me, but it's an additional 3,500.
the opportunity scholarship.
Yeah, it's like an annual extra, I'll pay for, 3,500, that's,
From the state.
Yeah.
Our state actually is they do a lot to try to help families pay to get their kids through
they
college.
really do, yeah.
And then graduate with his AA or AS like 4 weeks
You
before.
graduate with an Associate of Arts?
Yes.
Really?
From
Out of high
NIC.
school?
They actually walk at NIC 2 or 3 weeks before they walk at Lakeland High School graduation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yes, and that's all paid for by the state, so, through the Advanced Opportunities dollars, so.
We gotta survive honors English first.
But even if he doesn't get an AA, but, I mean, and he takes a few classes each semester, his junior, senior year, he will have a full year of college or more.
He's
Already.
planning on for, he's real big at aerospace engineering, that's his thing, so math.
Right, and so,